Peace and blessings, family. This is your boy Juro. It is Monday, the 30th of October, 2017. How is everybody doing? I just woke up not too long ago. No ball caps. I didn't even, I'm not, this is just straight unfiltered. But I wanted to reach the intended heart and intended mind, and I got a lot to say in a short period of time, and I hope you take this in because this is dialogue that no one is talking about. As you start your week, first of all, before I even let my spirit reach you, I hope your weekend was restful. I hope that you allowed yourself, gave yourself permission to reflect last week. I hope you actually allowed yourself to rest. Are you drinking your water? Are you taking your vitamins? Are you eating correctly? Or was this past weekend another distraction? This is something only you would know. I say this because this week is going to be very eventful. Number one, you're going to have new experiences. We know that. You're alive. So be grateful. You didn't have to wake up today. Number two, there are going to be things that you may not have been aware of that are going to be brought in front of you to be validated. Why? We're talking about your destiny, family. You can't shortcut that. You got to put the work in. That means you got to step through that fear. You know what fear is. Finally, everything is a reality. But what does your reality represent? Does it show you strength through clarity, through going within yourself, identifying what makes you you? Or is it just another denial, another deflection, another I'll do it tomorrow? Now, right off the bat, family, I'm talking to my parents out here. Your babies are going to go and celebrate Halloween. It is your responsibility to ensure their safety to and from. Please, please, please ensure that whatever they bring home, you inspect it. I know they're going to want to dig in the bag. They're going to look at the candy like it's their little trophies because they are happy. It is innocence. But let's be honest. You're going to also have people, unfortunately, that want to take the smile from your children's face and replace that with fear. And you're going to have a bunch of opportunists that are going to be doing things that are totally ungodly. Please ensure the safety of what should matter most, and that should be your lineage, your babies. That's tomorrow. So if you're out and about, make sure that you're not out in the streets because you're going to have some people, unfortunately, distracted by this. And they're not going to be looking out for you like they should. Make sure your babies are safe. I know that a lot of you have probably heard a lot of dialogue on social media in regards to possible disturbances and unrest in a town near you, in a city near you, in a state near you. But you know what I don't hear people talking about? And what it really amazes me the most is the fact that what's not being discussed. And I understand that, as the cliche go, the left hand needs to know what the right hand is doing. But then there are going to be those that are going to try to find enjoyment in your confusion. They're going to try to destabilize the way you think. Did you hear me? Your greatest asset about you is here, that beautiful mind. But guess what? Your perception is dictated by your application. So if you don't like the perception that is being perceived outside your environment, you need to take stock on that, because you'll also have to admit to yourself your reality is a reflection of what's found in your state of mind. There's no way around that. So you may have to finally admit and maybe redistribute what is priority. Emotional safety should be number one. Physical safety should be number two. You got to bear with me, family, because these soup coolers ain't working, but my heart is big. And I would hate for someone that for harm to be bestowed upon them because they were not aware of their surroundings. Nobody can do that but you. But guess what? We live in a time where instead of surveying what the hazard is, the potential threat, we want to go run into the threat, expecting that we will be unscathed. How delusional is that? There's no critical thinking going on. All under the banner of being revolutionary. You want to be a revolutionary? Then you must do that for yourself first. You be the example. Put words, those words that you convey, does it match your feet? Because if it doesn't match your feet, that makes you a martyr. In the military community, we also know that as a calculated casualty too, because there was no thought process. We don't have time for heroes, family. What's being required is for you to be who you really are. Because guess what? There are going to be a lot of people that think the ideologies that they have that has puffed their chests up to make them think that this is nothing but a means of acceptance and support. They're going to be sadly deceived. I ain't got to tell you that. You already know. See, it's easy to say things of anger behind a console, but I also am a firm believer that if you're so passionate about your position, you'll stand on it. You don't see that these days now, do you? Why is that? It's because 95% of the people that convey a position, that is not who they really are. That is nothing but a tactic to distract and inspire you down a road that has nothing but a dead end, to leave you literally holding the bag. It's no different than you see all these videos that spark your emotions. These are nothing but emotional triggers to get you to feel a certain way. Well, guess what? You still have to live your life, do you not? But what I find so ironic is this. When the call is given, you always hear people say, well, we need to protest. We need to unify. We need to come together. And we need to bang the gong, per se. Question. Why isn't that same passion applied to the individual? Because you can't do nothing in the masses until you do it for the one. That's you, that person that's in the mirror. But then again, you have to understand what being authentic is about. You have to also be vulnerable with yourself to look at the things that have broken edges or rough edges that need to be worked on. You know, all those things you put to the side, you say, I'll get it tomorrow. Then when you blink twice, there's nothing but a mound. There's nothing but a mountain of things left undone. Does it not surprise you that maybe that is the reason why your goal is not attained? You still got to start somewhere. But we don't talk about that now, do we? And you wonder why people laugh. You wonder why people don't take you serious. You wonder why financially you're not at a place that you desire to be. Why? You got to do the work. You got to do that work. Your friends ain't going to do that work. Well, they'll gladly distract you now, won't they? And then when you pick up that phone to reach out and ask for support, you can't find them, can you? Can't find them. But there's 1,001 excuses why they're not there. All you need is one. So you got to make a choice. You're going to allow yourself to stay distracted? Because if you're going to allow yourself to stay distracted, own that. Own that part. I want to be distracted. Why? What am I afraid of? What is that task that I feel insecure about? So I'm going to allow another day to be robbed, to pass by. No man knows the hour of his last breath. But you got a whole lot of people walking around bulletproof. That's what they think. You got a whole lot of people that live their life like it's a video game too. Like when the hard parts, there's a cheat code. The reset button's there. Who are you fooling? Who are you fooling? Because you're going to be the one that's going to feel the effect. But it matters not if you don't see the value of your existence. Who am I talking to? Queen, I've conveyed this for over 5 years. Some of you understand, and some refuse to accept. And I convey to you, stop looking for a man. Did I not? You can't have your happy ever after until you decide to claim you. It does not matter how educated you are. It does not matter your occupation. It does not matter your financial status. If you don't know who you are, you you indirectly set yourself up for exploitation because you don't understand what you rightfully deserve, what you need. And I get it because society has a template of a perception of what a woman, her placement is in the world. Do you like what that illustration is? Because on one side, the, the example is, I don't need a man. But on the other, you're complaining why why you don't have one. And this is not the bash. This is your validation. See, it goes like this. Mr. Right will be your forever. But if Mr. Right does not have a relationship with God first, he can never have a relationship with himself. And if he does not have a relationship with himself, how will he understand where he's going? So why you want to align yourself with someone that doesn't know them? Here's the reality check. As long as they don't invest in themselves, they can never have the tools to invest in you. It does not matter if he's swinging with a bat. It does not matter if his pockets are heavy. His heart will always be void. Who am I talking to? Some of y'all know this. Some of y'all just want to know what it feels like to be loved. But yet the truth is the illustrations of intimacy is nothing but a low budget porno. This is not shade. You know I'm telling you the truth. I say this with humility. I'm going to tell you the truth because I'm one of the good ones. I put God first in everything. But until you decide to put God first in front of everything, you're not going to be able to receive anything. Because guess what? That beast, yeah, the lion in the brush, he's the king of the bootleg. He will give you everything you want just to make the tears flow, just so that you will disrespect yourself more, just to ensure the nights get long. Just to ensure that your heart feels heavy. You don't deserve that. You don't. But that's not the half. Because this is nothing but a reflection of what's been. See, the problem is nobody wants to take accountability of themselves, but everybody wants to be a follower. You turn on social media and you got everybody and their mama that got something to say. Everybody and their mama wants to be focused on everything else but their own lives. Why are we protesting about that? Huh? You got so much energy so much passion. Why aren't you talking about the things that matter? You said, what's that, Gerald? Okay, why is it that your public schools are being financially defranchised? Huh? Still in 2017, teachers, educators, the people that spend more time with your children than you. You don't want to hear that, right? It's the truth. They spend more time with your child than you. They're putting the work in, but they're not being supported. They're not given the tools needed. So if they don't have the tools needed, who loses out? Your babies. Where's the passion in that? Your child should not feel like, is this the day that something's going to happen at my school? Is it safe for me to go to school today? Because don't think they don't think that. Because they do. Just like a lot of the emotional abuse that happens right where he or she lays her head. Why is that? Because you do understand that the tone, example that you set as the parent, they take that into the school. They mimic what they see. Whoever is the 5 most influential people in your child's life, they emulate. That's why you have little girls, little boys talking like adults. Their mannerisms are like adults. That's not cute. That's an example that you're failing as a parent. But it also shows that that child doesn't feel safe. Why aren't we talking about that? Next subject. You have a lot of people that are using these social media platforms with the sole purpose not to entertain you, but to distract you. And then whatever the hot button topic is, you're starting to see a whole lot of focus on that. You're going to see a lot of it. I'm not even going to go in there. I'm not even going to entertain it, but I'm going to explain something. You do understand the individual that has the channel is not the benefactor. It's the person that provides the service. Because at the end of the day, who provides the service is reaping the benefits from what is being used. I'll let you fill in the blanks on that one. So while you see all this negativity being spewed on the internet, in the media, you have a lot of people that want to turn around and say, well, Gerald, that's my First Amendment right, the right to express my opinion. You don't have to like that. You don't have to watch. Where's the responsibility? Where's the critical thinking? Because we live in a time where people don't critically think. They're very impressionable. Keep in mind, social media does not regulate what's age appropriate. That's where that search engine, that toolbar is for. But keep in mind, just as the keystroke is being used, it is also being recorded. So you do have to be responsible. But here's the thing I don't understand. The same people are doing this. Support, 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 support. So you have a choice to support their position, or you have a choice to not. And what I find very disturbing is very macabre is that you have people that are making financial gain off of people's tragedy. We don't see that. But here's the thing about that. If you got that much energy to make whatever your topic is a focus, you better have the same energy to apply it to your life. But most of them don't. Most of them live right here. You ever you think about it. Next time you have a person that you watch, send them a message and ask them how much of that is really them. I guarantee you 85% of what you find on social media is not accurate and is nothing but a depiction. So if it's a depiction, shouldn't there be some guidelines in regards to what's responsible? Why? I mean, what I'm okay, I'm not trying to beat a dead bush, but I am trying to bring awareness on something. You have a lot of people making money off your emotion, family. You can't let them do that. And I know some people are going to say, Joe, you hating. No, I'm not. I don't have to live those people's lives. But I see a contradiction there because if you have passion about whatever your platform is built off of, then that should be the person you represent it. 9 times out of 10, they not. If you were able to see who they were, you would feel a certain kind of way. Or better yet, just sit back and listen to what they're saying. I find that very disturbing because why does it take someone's sorrow to be your financial benefit? And there's a lot of people making a lot of money off of that. But that's nothing but pennies compared to the provider, though. Because you can remember, nobody owns YouTube but YouTube. So as long as you have a channel, you're working for them. So in turn, guess what? Somebody's watching you. Don't realize that? Those algorithms. You think that when you have a stall in your video or your sound ain't right, that's not you, that's them. That's just subtleties of letting you know what they approve of and what they don't. And let's be real. Majority of them don't believe in God. They don't. They all have their own agendas too. They do. But you know, they'll deflect it too. They're like, it's not about us, it's about what you represent. Mm. Oh yeah. Speaking about representing, um, if you're not aware, there is a potential disturbances that are going to occur on the 4th of November. If you're going to be out and about, please be observant with your surroundings because there are going to be a lot of copycat stuff, and a lot of it's going to be being uh, being done by our youth. Hmm. And guess what? You're going to have a lot of people getting locked up. You're going to have a lot of people, unfortunately, being physically harmed. But what people will not speak on is the emotional damage it is going to cause nationally. You say, well, how's that, Gerald? Well, think of it this way. 50% of the people don't trust anyway because they don't trust themselves. They don't want to admit that. Like, I got trust issues. You're right, because you don't trust you because you don't know who you are. So if you don't know who you are, how are you going to understand where you're going, what you need? But yet you seek safety in your environment, but your environment has continued to disappoint you still. That is your validation. That is who they are. And until you decide to love you, can that template be established? We teach people how we are to be treated. So why aren't you still using that beautiful word called no? No does not mean forever. The word no means under review. If it is not of your standard, why do you accept it? But you have to critically think. Put your logic first and put your emotion second. You realize how many people have made decisions based off of emotion that wish that they could go back in time and undo it? Who am I talking to? That's the world we live in. But what's really tragic about that, I'm afraid of what the world's going to be after our existence has come and gone. That's the despicable part. Because you got people connected to your lifeline that you will never get to meet because you have transcended. And the work that you do or have not done will be transitioned to them. Why aren't we talking about that? So, regardless if it's this week, next week, 6 months from now, you need to be more observant in your surroundings. You need to be more responsible in your thought process. And you need to stop making excuses for your life. You need to stop. I know somebody right now, you know, the people that make your support system are farther from that. There is no support, but they have access to your life. Why? Why? Why don't you address that? Because until you decide to address that, guess what? You ain't going to have a sleepless, you're not going to have a peaceful night. You already know that too, huh? You can't buy sleep. And you wonder why your money is the way it is. Because you don't have peace of mind. You're not putting you first. And what I mean by putting you first does not mean take a position to be selfish. No, it doesn't. It means to fall back in love with you. You know that little boy? You know that little boy that got them scars because of how your upbringing was? You still to this day, you grown ass man, still that think that nobody loves you. You know, your greatest example of love is you woke up today. You know why? Because you got work to do. There are certain things that your lifeline has to fulfill. You know, a lot of these non-believers want to call it prophecy when it's really discernment. But the truth of the matter is your lifeline has already been, was already set the moment you took your first breath. Oh yeah. Thank you, Father. Some of y'all, this is your biggest issue right here. You don't have a relationship with your kids. And you want a relationship with your kids. And you're frustrated. You've tried to pretty much ransom their attention by monetary gifts, and when in actuality, what's required is you give your undivided attention and your time. But there's something deeper than that. You ready for this? You know why you don't have a relationship with your kids? Your child? God forbid you be a beautiful queen trying to raise a son. Guess what, queen? That ain't going to work. He needs a man in his life because that's going to be the template of what his development is going to be. But the real reason why you don't have a relationship with your child or children is because of this one. You don't have a relationship with your parents. So guess what? Until you are willing to reestablish that bond, will you have that bond connected back to you? Everything comes full circle. Meanwhile, you frustrated because she walks and talks and acts like you when you were young. Now, you don't like it. What do you think your parents felt? What do you think about the people that really give a damn about you that you kind of wrote off? You're like, I ain't trying to hear what you got to say. I'm gonna keep it moving. But yet you still keep that door open for Charlie. And Charlie will come in and ransack your mind, body, and soul and go back out like the human tornado that he was, just as you found him. You know, you wouldn't have none of that pain if you never went looking for a man. Why won't you own that? Why won't you own it? But let's call it for what it is. Then you got a percentage of you that says, you know what? As long as I got my little secret drawer, I'm good. Nah. It's just deceiving yourself. And guess what? Some of you have written the men off 100%. I ain't gonna have nothing to do with another man. I'm gonna get with Sheila. Guess what? Sheila is just as broken as you. She just as broken. Guess what? And Sheila gonna hurt you more. Because two broken people can't make a whole relationship. And if you don't have a relationship in God, guess what? You know damn well she don't. So where you going with your life? Where you going? You gotta live it. It's your pain. Well, she the only one to understand me. That's an excuse. You know it is. When the truth is, she the only person that'll put up with your denial. Why? Because you don't call her out in hers. You know what? You know how. You already know what was written. You want to keep overlooking it? You think anything? You think you're gonna get blessings by overlooking it? Hope that works out. It's your life, but I know you deserve better. So it's you. Now I'm gonna bring this home. Unfortunately, there are those that mis they get misconstrued with inspiring someone and radicalizing someone. They think there's a commonality there because you hear and see someone's behavior and you allow your emotions to validate their position and you say, I want to be just like them. Be very responsible of what you consume here and here. Because the truth about it is a lot of people don't realize indirectly you are radicalizing people by an ideology, excuse me, that you have. But those same people will never take ownership. They won't stand up on it. They need an audience to feel emotionally safe. They accept validation that is nothing but illusions. And guess what? For example, the younger generation thinks there's solutions in protesting, right? Well, why aren't you unifying to better your schools? Why are you not unifying to better your communities? You do understand that your communities are getting regentrified every day, right? Eventually, the community that you come to know, you won't have it because they're gonna move you out of there. This happens everywhere. The demographic shifts. Like right now, I didn't understand this until I saw this with Hurricane Katrina. There was a lot of people that were homegrown from that area. They were born and raised from that area, but because of the hurricane, they had to leave, and because of their financial standings, they never could return. Only leaving a door of opportunity for those who could. Now, let's look at this from a legal standpoint. Do you realize how many people that had important no let me correct it. With all the hurricanes that have occurred, you realize how many uh, historical data, personal effects like family heirlooms, and just documentation that mattered, like you know, your birth certificates, medical, your medical insurance, the pertinent data. You realize how many people had to start from scratch You realize how many people were unprepared? And do you realize that there are going to be some people that just waiting for the appropriate time, and they're going to come right on in and they're going to buy up your history? Why don't you see that? In a town near you, in a city near you, in a state near you, historical communities are being replaced with the justification of, well, this is not racial, this is business motivated. And you're starting to see more commercialized uh, relocations. You're seeing major hubs that weren't there putting up locations where once used to be thriving communities. Why? Because they know that legally, after a period of time, that land is going to be for sale. Some also know that as eminent domain. Who's that benefit? It's not going to benefit you because they'll just wait you out. And eventually, guess what? Your money will dwindle and you can't beat them. But we're not talking about that now, are we? Why are we not? Because we're too busy worried about looking at a broken individual on the boob tube, what they think, what lie they done told, what disrespectful behavior. Meanwhile, the people that have established that as a means of distraction are making money off of your distraction. But you don't want to hear that now, do you? Because you like your life the way it is, don't you? Don't complain. Don't complain. Don't. Own it. Because until you decide to own it, can you change it? Meanwhile, I mentioned this, and I'm gonna shut this down. I mentioned this a couple weeks ago because I saw this alarming trend. You do understand that the largest consumer base for firearms are women between the ages of 18 to 30, I think it's 32. So, an alarming rate, women are arming themselves up. Also, you're seeing more people take self-defense classes. You're also seeing more people are changing the way they eat. They're in the gym. They're focusing on their self-preservation. So imagine the people that are oblivious to this. And there's going to be a line. Proverbially, the haves and the have-nots. And unfortunately, the have-nots are going to have a lot of youth that have been misguided, misinformed. They're going to turn around and mess their lives up because of a jail record. See, now people are finding humor in getting locked up. Like, I got locked up. I got street cred. Why do you want street cred? You don't need no cred when you're a grown up. Credibility is not to go to jail, not to put you in situations that will bring you physical or financial harm. Because sometimes things occur, and guess what? The repercussion is you got to pay a serious fine. But it also will come back to haunt you because one day you might want to seek higher employment. And guess what? Now you got a record. You ain't getting that job. They're gonna look at it and shred it. It ain't even gonna make it for review. So please be safe this week. Please watch over those you care about, especially tomorrow. Tomorrow, please watch your babies because you're gonna have some irresponsible people behind. They're not gonna be paying attention, and it never fails. Every Halloween, you always hear about a story of somebody's child was harmed. Please make sure it's not yours. And as of this weekend, just period, when you're out and about, pay attention to what you're doing. Because unfortunately, we don't own the public highway. The Department of Transportation does. And on that highway that you travel every day, there's somebody that will not value your life. And I'm not talking about because they're too busy looking at the phone, even though that is the highest leading cause of death these days, is death by cell phone. But you have some people that are radicalizing themselves with their vehicles. That's why I put it out there. Be very leery of, you're out and about because you got people that are using their high beams. They're trolling behind you. That means they're pretty much riding on your ass. But within the limits of the law. So if you're not paying attention and you wreck, well, they're gonna keep on going. But here's a good remedy for that too. And I'm bringing this home. If you're driving down the highway and your highway is 65 miles an hour, but you got somebody that driving so close that it's like they should be in your back seat, clean your windshield off. Hit that windshield wiper. That's a nice little message that you need to get off my ass. But be observant of your surroundings because guess what? You have a lot of people that think that they're John Wayne and the American Sniper, and they have that concealment and carry permit, and they have their firearms in their vehicles. People forgetting about that. Make sure you leave the same way you left your home, safe. But you got a lot of people out here making money off of people's pain. But if you ask them about their day-to-day, listen, the end goal is not to be employed by social media. I know there's a lot of people that are going to want to, no, but they are. You just look at their content. And if their content is like this, that means that's a telltale sign that these people have no clue and will not have responsibility for the content that they put out, which means they don't give a damn about you. Because at the end of the day, they're looking at the number of clicks they get, not the impact that they make. God is praying. You know I am. I see your worth. And for that, it helps me discern mine. You can sit up here and bash all the men you want. But guess what? You need to take responsibility for the person to let them have access to begin with.